For months, Christian Horner has remained in the shadows following his dramatic exit from Red Bull after the British Grand Prix last season. Once the most powerful and outspoken team principal on the grid, Horner vanished almost overnight. No interviews, no paddock appearances, no official plans. But behind the scenes, whispers have grown louder. Sources suggest Horner has been quietly plotting a comeback, holding talks with multiple teams as Formula One enters a crucial new era ahead of 2026. Now everything has escalated. Horner's unexpected appearance at the FIA headquarters in Paris, captured and shared by Mohammed bin Sulayem himself, has sent shockwaves through the F1 world. Fans immediately began speculating. Was this a simple social meeting or something far more strategic? With Alpine already confirming Horner's involvement in a potential investment group, the timing feels anything but random. If you want to stay ahead of the biggest behind-the-scenes moves in Formula One, the politics, the power plays, and the shocking twists, make sure to subscribe now. This season is shaping up to be one of the most dramatic in F1 history. Christian Horner's sudden appearance at FIA headquarters in Paris is far more than just a casual headline. It could be the clearest signal yet that one of Formula One's most powerful figures is preparing a calculated and dramatic return to the sport. Since his shock dismissal from Red Bull after the British Grand Prix last season, Horner has deliberately stayed out of the public eye. No interviews, no paddock presence, no visible involvement in Formula One. But behind closed doors, the story has been very different. Sources across the paddock suggest Horner has been quietly networking, contacting team executives, investors, and senior figures to map out his path back into F1. Early discussions with Aston Martin appeared promising, with Lawrence Stroll's ambitious long-term vision and massive investment into facilities. Horner was intrigued by the project, but those talks eventually collapsed, possibly due to control issues, leadership structure, or conflicting long-term plans. That failure, however, did not end Horner's pursuit. Instead, attention shifted toward Alpine. And now, for the first time, Alpine themselves have confirmed that Christian Horner is part of an investor group showing serious interest in purchasing Otro Capital's 24% stake in the team. This is where everything becomes interesting. Otro Capital entered Alpine in 2003, bringing with them a wave of celebrity investors: Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney, Rory McIlroy, Patrick Mahomes, and more. At the time, it symbolized Formula One's growing commercial appeal and rising valuations. But just 2 years later, with team values exploding across the grid, Otro Capital is now exploring the sale of its stake, likely aiming to cash in at a huge profit. And Horner appears ready to step in. If Horner's group successfully acquires that stake, reportedly around 24%, it would instantly place him in a powerful ownership position inside Alpine. Even without an official management role, that level of investment would give Horner major influence over strategic decisions, leadership structures, and the long-term future of the team. But the timing of Horner's visit to the FIA headquarters adds a whole new layer of intrigue. Mohammed bin Sulayem's social media post was warm, friendly, and seemingly casual. Yet, in the world of Formula One politics, nothing involving the FIA president is ever meaningless. Publicly sharing a meeting with Horner at such a critical moment naturally fuels speculation. Some believe the visit was simply a social catch-up while Horner attended a historic car show in Paris. But many insiders suspect something far more strategic was discussed. Any major investment in a Formula One team requires FIA approval. Ownership structures must be reviewed. Governance rules must be followed. Potential conflicts of interest must be cleared. With decades of experience in F1 politics, Horner would know better than anyone that securing regulatory clarity early is essential. In other words, this meeting may have been about removing obstacles before making a big move. Others go even further. There is growing speculation that Horner's long-term goal is not just to become an investor, but eventually return to a leadership role once his gardening leave expires in April. While officially he cannot take up any new position until then, nothing prevents him from preparing the ground, and Alpine could be the perfect project. The French team endured a disastrous 2023 season, finishing last in the Constructors' Championship. Performance was poor, internal instability continued, and confidence within the organization hit rock bottom. But instead of desperately chasing short-term results, Alpine made a bold strategic decision, shifting massive resources early toward the 2026 regulations. They also closed their Renault Power Unit program and signed a partnership with Mercedes, widely regarded as the most successful and reliable engine supplier of the hybrid era. This is not a small adjustment. It is a full reset, a rebuild from the foundations up. and rebuilds often require a strong, experienced figure to lead them. Christian Horner is one of the most successful team principals in modern F1 history. He transformed Red Bull from midfield outsiders into a dominant championship-winning powerhouse. He knows how to attract top engineers, manage political battles, and build long-term performance projects. But Alpine, aligning themselves with Horner, whether as an investor, strategic advisor, or eventual leader, could represent their biggest opportunity to return to competitiveness in the new era. This is why fans immediately connected the dots. The moment Ben Sulayem posted that photo, social media exploded with comments suggesting Horner was buying an F1 team. Others said the grid felt incomplete without him. And the more you look at the pieces, the more the story starts to make sense. Let's look at the timeline. Horner disappears from public view after leaving Red Bull. He quietly contacts teams behind the scenes. Aston Martin talks collapse. Alpine rumors intensify. Alpine confirms Horner's involvement with investors. Otro Capital explores selling their stake. Horner suddenly visits FIA headquarters. Individually, each event could be dismissed. Together, they paint a picture of careful planning. This does not feel spontaneous. It feels orchestrated. Horner has always been a master of long-term strategy, both on track and off it. His Red Bull success was never about quick wins. It was about building systems, recruiting the right people, and positioning the team politically within the sport. Now, it appears he may be doing the same again. There is also a wider power shift happening in Formula One. With new regulations coming in 2026, the competitive order could be completely reshuffled. Teams that invest smartly now could dominate the next decade. That makes this moment incredibly attractive for investors and for experienced leaders like Horner, who understand how to exploit regulatory transitions. If Alpine's early focus on 2026 pays off, and if Mercedes' power delivers as expected, Horner's potential involvement could place him right at the center of the next F1 era. Ultimately, the prospect of Christian Horner's return transcends the fortunes of a single team. It introduces a volatile and highly capable new variable into the sport's already intricate political and competitive landscape. His potential alignment with Alpine, a works team armed with Mercedes power and a clean slate for 2026, poses a direct challenge to the established order. It asks a compelling question of rival teams. If one of the sport's most successful architects is betting his comeback on this particular project, have they underestimated its potential? The waiting game continues, but the pieces on the board are moving with a purpose that suggests the final announcement is not a matter of if, but when and in what definitive capacity. The grid and the history of the 2026 era may well be preparing for a profound reshuffle. Of course, nothing is officially confirmed, but Formula One history shows that big moves are often prepared quietly long before announcements are made. And Christian Horner's sudden reappearance, especially inside FIA headquarters, strongly suggests that something major is already in motion. Whether he returns as a powerful investor, a behind-the-scenes strategist, or eventually a team boss once again, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Christian Horner is not done with Formula One. In fact, his comeback may already be underway. So, is Christian Horner simply making friendly visits in Paris? Or is he carefully orchestrating one of the biggest comebacks in Formula One history? And if Alpine becomes his new base of power, could we see a shock resurgence in 2026? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because if these rumors are true, the entire F1 grid could be about to change.